So how early can you be fertilizing your lawn, and when should you start spraying weeds when you see them in the yard? Let's talk about early spring today. First off, if you're looking for a free guide that gives you some general information on lawn care and some application calendars, check out this link right here after watching this video for more information. I have the cool season lawn here, and my thinking on early spring fertilizer is I see a lot of people go out right away, throw down a ton of fertilizer, and that causes a lot of excess growth in the lawn. So if you did your fertilizing in the fall last year, and you're sort of on my program of pretty heavy fall fertilizing for cool season lawns, that should carry you over into the spring and should get you through sort of the flush growth of the season. I like to use liquids during this time for a much more controlled, lower rate if you'd like to give just a little food to the lawn there, but you don't want to go too crazy. But I see a lot of people putting down 3/4 of a pound of nitrogen or more, and then they notice that their lawn is growing like wildfire every day. And it's going to do that pretty much anyway during the spring flush season here for cool season lawn. So adding to that fertilizer at the beginning just causes more growth, and you really need to keep up with mowing if you're going to do that. So if you didn't fertilize last fall and you're looking to get into lawn stuff right now, there's a lot of new people joining the channel right now. So if you didn't do anything in the fall season, then I could see it being appropriate if your lawn has been neglected for a while. Last season, I started a project lawn across the street to help my neighbor out. It was appropriate for a lawn such as this that is needing some nutrients to go for the spring fertilizer early on. And just know again that the most important thing that you can learn is that mowing is going to be extremely important. If you can keep up with this in the spring every few days, I know it sounds like a lot, but it's going to benefit you down the road because the more that you let the grass grow taller and it gets out of control during the springtime, then you go and cut it down, the more stress that it is going into an already stressful season of summer. So the long and short of that is just control your rates with fertilizer. If you'd like to add some in the spring and you already did a fall fertilizer and you don't want to be mowing every few days, then just go easy on the rates. You can still put down a little bit. You don't always have to go crazy and go the whole bag rate or whatever is listed on the back of the bag. Also again, if you'd like a little more control, then you can go with a liquid product and spray that out. Those will be lower rates of nitrogen, and that way the top growth will not be so extreme and you can keep up with your mowing. So hopefully this will show here on camera, but you might notice some of these lime green spots here sort of mixed into the lawn. Now the lawn is still waking up for me, but these lime green spots are areas where the dogs went maybe multiple times during the winter season. Really what that causes is sort of an excess overgrowth, and the same kind of thing will be happening if you really hammer fertilizer on in early spring. So then these spots grow up extremely fast. Even though I've been mowing them consistently, they're starting to outgrow even being able to keep up with producing the color back into the leaf. That's sort of an example of what can happen with excess fertilizer. So you may have a few weeds that have popped up in your lawn after wintertime. And I get a lot of questions right away in the spring of, when can I start spraying those? As soon as they're actively growing. And I'd say as soon as maybe your first mow happens or your first couple of mows happen, that's a signal that the lawn is going to start growing pretty actively at that point, and the weeds are going to continue to grow actively right along with it. So if I can make bring in terms of weed control, that would be to use something that is an ester base. So I happened to buy this last year for basically this exact thing, because I wanted to be able to control things early spring or late fall as it's getting colder here. Some of the other weed controls might still work, but they may have a little more trouble during that time frame. So if you can use something ester base, this one happens to have MCPA ester as the main ingredient, and then it's mixed in with a few other ingredients to control a whole ton of broadleaf weeds. This is for northern and southern grasses. Results in a few hours and reseed in a couple of weeks. So if overseeding was still in your spring plan and maybe you're way up north right now, then maybe this could be an option for you to take care of some weeds before you do your seeding. So this here is an area that I reseeded last year, and it's Kentucky bluegrass, so it's slow coming in. You don't really anticipate it to be extremely full until coming into maybe late spring this year. That's pretty typical. But you'll notice that I have quite a few weeds popping up here now, and so I'd like to do some early season control on these. I'm going to be using that product that I just talked about to just spot spray what I'm seeing. Not going to spray the whole area. It's not needed. Just spot spray whatever I see. If you have a little can, something like that right there, then that will work perfectly. That I use for my Roundup sprays, so I don't mix that with anything else. I'll just be using one of my backpacks today, but you definitely could just use one of those small cheap little things there if you want to. You need to make sure you read the label. I know that sounds boring. It is very important, so that you understand what the rates are, understand what it's supposed to control, and also there's stuff in here about how many times this can be sprayed, which it recommends here for spot treatments for cool season mix. when I'm using the mix, low range to high range fluid ounces into 1 gallon. This could treat area size. But of course we're not spraying that full area, we're just going to be spot spraying. But that is the mixture. For warm season grass, it says, lower range fluid ounces of this product for 1 gallon of water. So it's a little bit less on warm season. And then this is important right here. It says maximum application for spot treating is max fluid ounces per area size. And the maximum number of spot treatments is limited to small number per year with a minimum day gap days between applications. I'm going to go with the low rate. I'll just mix low rate ounces into my sprayer and see what happens with that rate. I can do one more application if needed later on, but I have a feeling that will probably be pretty good. So I added in half of the gallon of water first, then I'll go get the amount, ounces of the product. Add that in, then add the rest of the water. Okay, so I need amount, ounces. Music. And just by the consistency of this, I can tell that it doesn't need a surfactant. It's very sort of gel-like in a way. So add that in, and then I will add the rest of my water to bring it up to a gallon. Now it's up to you. If you'd like to, you can add some marker dye in here. I'm trying to sort of get away from using this myself, just because it really can make a mess everywhere. But if you're new to spraying, I would recommend you use this. I put on sunglasses right now, some polarized sunglasses, usually that can really help you in seeing what is wet on the ground and what isn't. So that's what I'm using, and I'm pretty comfortable going in a grid pattern and spraying. But if you need some little marker, then go ahead and add some of this to there also. Alright, so pretty simple spray process here. Essentially just gonna walk up and down basically in a grid pattern. So just walk straight here, spray what you see. Don't go to the side, don't go to that side. Stay in your lane and then just come back. Keep going up and down, and essentially that's all you do. You just spray what you see. And I usually don't try to get too close down onto the weed. It's not windy today, which is a good thing. Just keep a decent distance away, you don't need to be right down on it.